Hello lords and ladies, it's me, Private Yorkie, back from the front. It's crazy out there. Right, it's time to go crazy in the library. Time to continue with our killing time run on Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, where we're going to play a kind of assassin. Might be a complete balls up, we'll see. But we've finished dealing with the tieflings. Got ourselves a nice bit of loot as well. Now we need to head to the market to clear away so we can get to the Blackwing Library and talk to the storyteller who's apparently there according to Staunton. Spotted enemies, let's go fight.
The Inheritor.
Save the last one for me.
There you go.
I must rest to fight another day.
Well, we're all kind of tired, but you'll be okay. Failed to sneak past enemies. Another fight.
They will break against our resolve.
Did you see that?
That was easy. Right, the first thing we need to do is to make a way of crossing the city, so we need to find a place we can do that. The fat bugger Deskari carved it all in two, didn't it? You can see right there, in fact.
Call me again if you need to.
Alright, there's enormous cracks appeared. Okay. Fine.
Yet another obstacle.
Die!
And that's them.
Can we rest now? No? How about now?
Thanks, Len.
And that's the path across the city made. Not a very stable one by the look of it, but it works. Now, we can head out the same way, because I don't really care about clearing the market square right now. I care about getting to the Blackwing. And I'll explain the reason for that. I found this from a previous run. I'll explain the reason for that when I get there. When you see what we're doing. But up we go. Oh yeah. I know we're running into it. Yeah, you'll see them in a minute. They're absolutely bloody crazy. Crazier than it is out on the front, you know.
Wearing a robe? Check. Baphomet symbol around the neck? Check. Crazy eyes? Check. Note to self. Bring a mirror next time to be able to adjust the optimal level of eye craziness. Everything is ready for the experiment.
It's Nino. The experiment. The woman produces a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve and takes notes.
An audience. Problematic, but not critical. You there, girl. Stay out of this. It is counterproductive to stand in the way of scientific progress.
The woman turns to you for a moment and she focuses her wandering, distracted gaze on your face. Who are you? What are you doing here? She's ignoring us. Oh, she'll talk to some cultists.
Who's that? I don't know her.
Greetings, boys and girls. I am your sister in sin, a devotee of Lord Baphomet's dark will, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very convincing, Nino.
She looks like one of us, but she talks kinda weird.
Yep, she does.
Who's there with you?
The cultist finger points your way.
Who? Oh, them. just an audience, they don't matter. Consider them a supplementary component of the coming experiment.
Will Strugan remain
In the
silent?
name of our Lord Baphomet, please be so kind as to undertake a little test of your competency in our wicked cause.
It seems the cultist wishes to say something, but the woman won't let him.
Let's start with something simple. So here's my first question. What is Lord Baphomet's favorite weapon?
He produces a pencil and a crumpled piece of paper from her sleeve.
We will not answer to you.
Our lord can wield any kind of weapon. He is all powerful.
Yeah, he didn't ask what he can wield. He said, what's powerful? What's his favourite one?
Wrong. He wields no weapons at all. He doesn't need any. He just gores his enemies with his horns.
Unfortunately, we didn't solve it either, so never mind.
These answers are wrong. The correct answer is Isergall, a glaive made of red adamantine. This experiment has taken quite a surprising turn. I would never have expected the followers of the great Baphomet to be baffled by such a simple question. Fine. Let's recalibrate the difficulty and proceed with the next question.
Excuse
Please
me.
name Lord Baphomet's sacred animal.
The woman frowns.
A bull! Of course, everybody knows that.
Yep. And a cow.
And we didn't solve it again. I guess we're not going to. We'll say
None of
nothing.
your answers were correct. The correct answer is an aurochs.
Never had it where I fail them all before.
It appears the experiment has yielded results which are as unexpected as they are incredible. Baphomet's cultists have not the slightest idea about who Baphomet really is, let alone any in-depth knowledge of his ideology or philosophy. I'm positive that this news will cause a sensation in widest scientific circles.
Damn it. She's right. I'm a shitty excuse for a cultist. And my mother used to tell me to become a plowman.
Hey, take it easy. We've only had 2 questions. You there, come on, ask another one. Well, what was
Yeah.
the next one?
Ask them some more. They might still manage it.
Is there any sense in continuing? You cannot answer the simplest of questions. I am ashamed of all of you, as cultists and as individuals.
Please, ask again. I can answer. I'm sure I can.
How do you spell Baphomet's name?
B-A-F-A... Oh, screw it. To
That
hell
didn't go
with
well.
Baphomet. I thought it was gonna be fun, but instead there are all these questions. I'm done here. I'm going back to my home village, back to my mother.
Hey, wait! You there! How dare you stir up discord in our ranks? Grab her and tie her up, and her entire entourage too!
But not our entourage.
The experiment is complete. Unable to deal with the questions, the cultists decide to deal with the examiner instead. A typical reaction for a person who has never been burdened with any intelligence. Now you're gonna start hitting each other, aren't you?
Told you she was
Please,
crazy.
proceed. I won't interrupt.
The woman makes a note. She raised her eyes.
Did we find trouble? No, they did. You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Well, I'm down.
The world in crimson!
Your performance is lacking. You are lacking.
The absence of an answer is an answer too. Yeah, but they're just weird, them mess buggers.
The result is statistically predictable, especially considering their intelligence level.
The woman examines the cultist remains.
What about you, girl? Are you ready to answer some questions for the good of science? Let's proceed with the experiment. My first question is simple. Which colors does the goddess Iomade prefer?
The woman turns over a crumpled piece of paper to the blank side. God, it's through religion, absolutely convinced the correct answer is red and white.
This answer is correct. It is comforting to meet at least one educated person in the melting pot of ignorance that is Knabras today.
The woman makes a note on a piece of paper.
Let's proceed. Did Aradin take part in any crusade before he died?
You know for sure that Aaron died not long before the world wound opened and the first crusade began. Oh, no, he didn't.
Your answer is correct. Eridan's death dates to 4606, and that is precisely the year when the World Wound was opened. The First Crusade started back in 4622.
Well, makes a note on a piece of paper.
Your knowledge would make Mendev's Crusaders proud. My final question is, what is the title that Aurilu Vorlesh bears? Is she the architect of the World Wound, the Lord of the Labyrinth, or the Border Acquisitor of the Shapeless Abyss?
You're positive Aurilu Vorlesh. She's known as the architect of the World Wound. And you know, I was tempted, I mean, I've obviously answered them right now. I'm tempted to answer them wrong on some run-through to find out what happens if you get them all wrong.
That's correct. Most excellent. You successfully answered all of my questions. Splendid. Amazing. This is a breakthrough. I thank you for your cooperation.
Woman breaks off, looks at you and catches her breath.
It seems to me that I owe you an explanation. My name is Nenio. I am an explorer, a pilgrim, a yet-to-be-recognized scientific luminary, future author of the great Encyclopedia Galarianica, and rector of all Absalom's universities at once. Future rector, I should say. I also know several spells.
The woman blinks several times. Now you can finally tell me what you were getting at with those questions.
It is so heartening to see you strive for knowledge. I have been conducting an experiment comparing the intellectual abilities of the average cultist with those of the average crusader. And I must admit that you passed the test with flying colors. This does offer a glimmer of hope for the future of Crusade. I have always claimed that despite the popular beliefs about the limited intellectual abilities of those in the army, at least some of them can be considered educated. It pleases me to see that I was correct.
So, I only have one question for you, Nino, at this point. I mean, there's others here, but personally, for me, for Private Yorkie, I've got one question for you. Why, when a ragtag group of armed individuals showed up, did you assume they were Crusaders? We don't have a big sign on our backs, you know. So you're trying to say that I'm mediocre?
Yes.
Well, gee, thanks a lot. Why do you keep calling me girl? I have a name, you know.
I apologize for an injury to your ego, but your name is irrelevant on the grand scale of the universe. Thus, it cannot possibly interest me. I will forget it as soon as I hear it. To avoid unnecessary confusion, I'd prefer to not know it at all.
No, my name's Kinnear. Irrelevant would be a weird name. Canabras isn't safe right now. Shall we join forces?
Do you wish to become my follower?
No, other way
to
round.
Accompany me on my expeditions to the World Wound? To assist me in my experiments? To run errands for me? Perhaps even to write down my deepest thoughts for the benefit of future generations?
You have thoughts?
Splendid. Of course, I agree. Truth be told, I have no money to pay you. But you will be aiding the progress of science, and that is its own reward.
If we join forces, you'll have to follow my instructions during our expeditions.
Huh? What? Oh, yes, the dangers and these battles. Of course, I will follow your orders. I place my life in your capable hands, so I can focus on the things that really matter.
Nino focuses a wandering eye on you. Okay, you can join us.
Excellent. You're hired. To think that I finally found someone to accompany me. 27 Crusaders before you said no. Not one of them saw the undeniable appeal of my offer. Your first assignment is to take me to a safe place. I have to admit that today's experiment has left me quite tired.
And we've got Nino. Alright. We got an itchy shoulder too. Okay.
Can't hide from me.
Nothing too wonderful, but at least we can sell it. Right, over to the Blackwing Library. We'll go to the hand cultist first. And the lost bag. And hopefully I'll get here in time.
Might be trap, might be treasure.
Yep. See these boys on the fire here? Well, on the pile of books. If you take too long, I mean, usually, if you're even given a quest saying you have to get back to base quick in a role-playing game, you can go all around the bloody world and do all kinds of stuff and then go back and you're still in time. This time you're not even told to get there quick, but if you don't, those buggers are burning. If you do, you can recruit them for later on. A stocky knight with a head of messy black hair stands before you. His armour is spattered with blood. He greets you with a deep booming voice. "Ha, Crusaders, excellent. I am Captain Cheleb Salmel, and these are my men. I am about to burn these vile backstabbers and heretics here. These pathetic imitators of the traitor Arilu, who tricked their way into the ranks of the Crusaders." The knight nods at a heap of severely beaten people and a strange elf whose appearance seems jarring for some unknown reason. Salmel bellows threats at his prisoners, who seem to be in a state of deep shock and utter terror. The knight's left eye is twitching suspiciously. There's a nervous tick, or he's winking at you. What could that even mean? A strange feeling rises up within you. It is pure instinct. You don't know what you're about to do, but you are certain it is right. Well, let's have a look first. Take a closer look. Crusade's nostrils flare and he looks truly angry, planning for a fight. Law, religion, their armour. Carefully studying Crusade's armour, you can say that these aren't fakes. What? Why do you want to burn them? Warrior howls like a wild animal. Look around you. The city is in burning ruins. So many innocent lives lost, and all because of the abominations like here. Cultists, heretics, and spies slipping into our ranks, carrying out the orders of their brutal masters and preparing a heinous death for us all. They want to give us over to the demons, just like Arilu did with Sarkoris. This isn't good. Are you ogling me or what? There we are, we've triggered it. No, not at all. If you spot that it's wrong, you can trigger it too. No, not at all. I just saw you. Are you on our side? The knight points two fingers out from his temples, mimicking horns, and looks at you as if this is supposed to mean something. He drops his hands. Because this is how you open the trickster path, and I intend to make her a trickster. Because tricksters get sneak stuff and so on, so it fits in with her. Idiot, stop! Heed my command in the name of Baphomet. The words fly out of your mouth before you can even think of them. Some gut instinct told you that this is precisely what needs to be said at the moment, and the words hit their target. The Crusaders jump in surprise and look at each other in terror. Waldif glares menacingly at Cheleb. Didn't you know, mortal? We're everywhere. Cheleb leaps to attention and backs out. Sorry, couldn't have known. We'll fix it right away, ma'am. An inexplicable feeling of rightness flows through you. You enjoy seeing the look of Ophi's terror on the faces of the Crusader and his lackeys when you rebuke them for their fecklessness. Stop wasting valuable fuel. If you like burning books, go to the Great Garrison Library. Our enemies might try to sneak in there. Step to it. There's more where that came from, ma'am. We'll do everything we've ordered, and just as soon as these Crusaders arrive, they'll be dead meat. I'll go make sure that we've got make it another 2 barrels of alchemist fire from the Great Garrison storeroom. Things are going to burn up, right up in there. That's got rid of them. Without these folks being burnt. Now, before we do anything else, let's get all the loot.
Onwards.
More over here. Barrel flammable alchemical substance. Nothing through there. Oh, I don't know if I've seen that before. Maybe. Oh yeah.
This experiment has gone awry.
This statue of a lean man dressed in wizard's robes. Okay, don't recognize him.
I found something.
Bookcase is full of text describing demons and methods of fighting them. Breastplate wasn't able to save Calabrese. Yeah. Right, that's all the books. Now we go to the boss lady. We go through an info gather. For some books, when you look at them, they give you some bonuses. Did we do that one? I don't remember. I don't actually need to read them myself as long as she does. See, there's new things learned. Let's have a look what we've got so far. He's exhausted, that's not good. Right, we have Temple of Armade gives +1 shield bonus to AC against demons. Minotaur is bonus with glaive, which we're not using. Sadly, only the leader can get bonuses from reading books. +1 morale bonus to AC against dragons. +1 competence bonus on saving throws against swarms. +1 competence bonus on attacks and damage rolls on all neutral targets. There you go, see, we've got some good stuff there. Now, free these boys. Praise Armade, we're saved. A blind elf stands before you. He looks extremely strange. His face wears its ears heavily, which is unusual for members of his race. Thinning grey hair, a ragged beard, sightless milky eyes, pale papery skin, covered in age spots, a spine curved by the passage of time. This is not how elves typically age. The youth that graces the face of elves even on their deathbed has totally abandoned this decrepit specimen. That is an elf with a beard. I guess the worst that can be found even in the best. A bearded elf, how very intriguing. If you please, I would like to pluck out a hair of that phenomenon manifesting on your chin. In the interest of science, of course. The old elf holds out a hand in your direction in the perennial gesture of blind greeting you with an unexpectedly strong and calm voice. Hello, I am Storyteller, and I wish to thank my rescuers. This is you, if I'm not mistaken. Storyteller, huh? That's the first I've heard of a venerable old-timer like that with a street name. Who are you? The old elf frowns. I prefer people to call me Storyteller. It very accurately describes the sphere of my occupations and interests. In most of the places I've been, I'm known by that name. I want to talk to you about something. The old elf responds with dignity and courtesy, but firmly. In thanks for my rescue, of course, I will render you a service in turn, whatever it may be. However, at this moment I wish to be somewhere safer than the present surroundings. My recent adventures have fatigued me greatly. I would be grateful if you could help me to find a shelter of some kind. The stubborn set of the elf's mouth tells you that he won't change his mind. Typical, you do someone a good turn and instead of saying thank you, they just ask for more help. Go easy on the old elf, he's had a rough go of it. Yeah, because we've had it so easy. We can't not help him. If it was up to me, Grandfather Elf, I'd throw you over my shoulder. Well, good luck with that one. And carry you out for you. This is no place for old folks. I have other things to do, I'll help you later. In that case, I will remain here for now. It won't be long, I just need to talk to these boys first. Wandering the city while it's under attack by demons would be inadvisable for a blind person. It's pretty much bloody inadvisable for anyone, to be honest. Don't forget to take me with you when you're going to a safe place. Right. Claim. Where am I?
I'm losing my temper.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see indeed. See, I'm not really carrying much, am I? I'm well over what I can bear because I'm fatigued. Actually, I'm exhausted. Does anyone...
A bright future awaits us.
Who, me?
have any
always
kind of
open to
strengthening?
ideas.
Nope.
All this
None of us
waiting
do.
bores me.
Alright, well, strip off then. Now I can go talk to him. Hello? I can get there. Oh, no. Hang on, not him. Not him, him. The young man with aristocratic features wipes the sweat from his brow and gives you a courteous bow. Allow me to introduce myself, Brother Claim, at your service. Thank you for helping us. We thought we were doomed to perish. Who are you? We are Crusaders of the Order of the Flaming Lance. Our order dedicates itself to the pursuit of hidden knowledge and magical methods of fighting the demons. We are searching for our leader, Sister Miamir, the scholar. She spent the last few weeks here working day and night on some important research. When the demons attacked the city, we rushed here to find her. But it seems she left the city shortly before the attack began. Miamir, I don't recall the name, which means her scholarly contribution cannot have been significant, and yet her actions do intrigue me. If the opportunity arises, I'd like to find out what experiment she carried out. Miamir just left the city with no word of where she could be found. None. Michael, oh. That's a book, I think. She left in a hurry without leaving any notes or orders. Why, I have no idea. The only thing that may serve as a clue is this book that she was studying. Tonight holds letter bound home to you. Mimir's note mentions something about a stone book belonging to the druids of Old Sarkoris. What does that mean? Stone books? The druids of Old Sarkoris used to use sacred trees as books. They carved their secret knowledge into the bark. When the demons came, the druids resorted to dark ritual that turned the trees to stone, and the druids themselves into undead, doomed to guard their stone library forever, gone forever. Well, that happened far from here in the Stone Wilds. It is possible that's where Miamir went. Or maybe she found one of those trees somewhere nearby, I don't know. How did you end up in this trap? That traitor met us at the door. He seemed faithful and passionate crusader, and we didn't suspect a thing until they attacked us from behind and knocked us out. We didn't expect such trickery. Most of our older brethren are dead, and we were desperate to believe that this man in armour was a fellow crusader, a comrade. While we were unconscious, they removed our armour and tossed us on the pyre of books. What macabre blasphemy. Ain't it always the way? You start to think you might be able to trust a fella and boom, he goes and stabs you in the back. But if you never trust anyone, then soon you'll become a killer just like Ulrun. That's hardly better, is it? Ah, don't start that. Start on me. Sorry, don't start that now. Fine, you convinced me you can trust people. But only one in every dozen, I'd say, and not even for long then. Who is the elf with you? Is he a crusader as well? No, he called himself Storyteller. Yeah, we've heard of him. If you don't know, we don't care. So flip through them. Go to the Defender's Heart. Those who are ready to fight back are gathering there. The city still fights? Why, that's incredible news. We'll go to our sanctuary guarded by our order brothers and sisters. We will bring them to Defender's Heart. There, see, we've got some allies. Now, because she's right with him, I think I can I think I can put her weapons back on. And anything else she uses. Well, that's too yeah, that's not going to work for me. All right, that looks good. And now I'm taking you to the Defender's Heart. Please accept my sincere thanks once more. Again, if I may. Please don't rush, I will struggle to keep up with your young legs. Yep, we're going there right now. Show me what you have. Book selling. Also, book selling. I don't think I'm going to need that, but maybe. Don't need that though. Right. Now I want to talk to him over here. The blind elf looks better than he did in your last encounter. His clothes are clean and his pale face has some colour. The elf turns to you and listens closely. Is that you, my saviour? I recognise your footsteps. Determined footsteps befitting a determined person. Allow me to thank you again for saving me. Please accept this humble gift as a token of my appreciation. The elf hands you a small black ring with 2 scarlet runes on it. You had better explain why you're looking for me. I warned the authorities of Canabres that the local wardstone has been desecrated. They waved off my warning and paid for their inaction. I've examined many wardstones, but only in the one guarding Canabres did I sense a flaw, a spot of corruption inside. A vulnerability the demons will surely use. They're able to spread the blight inside the wardstone, corrupt it and make it their weapon. It frightens me to think of what it will become, what it will be capable of. The wardstone must be destroyed. Who are you and why did they let you examine the wardstone? The elf smiled faintly. I am the storyteller, just an old elf, and a bit more. I am even old for an elf. I've seen so many things and I have been to so many places. Not long ago, I witnessed the making of a young kingdom in the Stolen Lands, led by a remarkable and promising individual. My advice to that on those complicated masses of conquering those lands proved useful to that leader. This is not uncommon for me. Some seek my advice or services, and I don't refuse. This is how I acquired my reputation as an old vagrant who never hurt anyone, stayed out of other squabbles, but sometimes gave good advice. I had a few friends in Norothian who vouched for my integrity. That's why my humble request to be allowed to see the wardstone was granted. I visited all of them, but only found cause for alarm in Canabres. You wield some special magic power? Some instinct? The storyteller chuckles. Yes, to a certain extent. But it is more a gift. I can see the past. Stories that have happened. I touch an object and the shreds of its owner's memories are revealed to my mind. Their emotions, passions and tragedies, I see visions like I am them. And their stories happen to me. This is my power. I've been roaming the world gathering such stories for many thousands of years. One day I will gather them all. What blight is concealed in the wardstone? I'm afraid I don't have the answer to your question. To understand the nature of the blight, we need to understand the wardstone was created, and it's hidden from me, I can only guess. Have you heard about the Red Morning Massacre? I've heard about the Red Wedding Massacre. A dreadful morning remembered with fear by those not yet born at the time. A demoness called Minago invaded the city with a crowd of her followers and started to do what demons do best, kill and desecrate. They say they cover the wardstone with pieces of dead bodies, splashed it with blood from the top to bottom. Could such an abomination darken the radiance of the gift of Armade herself? The locals think that it's possible, but who knows? It was not the last attack. Many demon leaders brought their unholy forces here. Even the terrifying Baylor Karamzadeh. Their attacks were rebuffed, but they still reached their target. I think this is when the seed of corruption was planted in the stone. It wouldn't have grown on its own, but Deskari himself has now come in to take advantage of this weakness, to open up the abscess that has been festering for years, unnoticed by the people of Canabres. And when the demon lord struck the blow that weakened, the stone gave in. Now it's in demon hands, and nothing is stopping them from spreading the blight throughout the entire stone, and from it to the other stones along the whole perimeter of the world wound. Why did you travel to the wardstones? I tried to see their stories. The visions I had when I took to wardstones were unclear. I saw hundreds, maybe thousands of different stories at the time. They followed each other like flashes of lightning. It is impossible to separate them. I couldn't understand where one ended and the next one began. I've heard you, storyteller. In that case, you must make every possible effort to destroy the corruption. Unfortunately, I don't know where to get an instrument powerful enough to banish it from the wardstone. As far as I know, there is nothing like it in Canabres, but the demons might have something. I heard the dying roar of Tarentla, the silver dragon, the protector of the city. At the same time, I felt a wave of unfamiliar power sweep over me from head to toe. I would advise you to go wherever Tarentla perished, and search there for something. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific, but intuition and a strange sense of rightness tell me to point you there. Reminded me why it's so important to cleanse the wardstone of corruption. And you've already told me, so I don't care. Can I help you? Storyteller nods gratefully. I appreciate your offer. I have reason to believe that somewhere in Canabres there is a manuscript, authored by an elf from Keonin, who witnessed Earthfall. The storyteller's voice suddenly breaks and he stops for a moment. For personal reasons, I'd like to examine it, but no matter how hard I try, I fail to find it. Even in the Blackwing Library, I only found a mention that the manuscript exists and is held somewhere in the city. I assume it's stored at the Grey Garrison. They wouldn't let me into the archive when I visited. All those crusaders were nervous about a strange blind elf in their secrets. It's understandable. The crusade naturally made them a little paranoid, but now the Grey Garrison's fallen into enemy hands. I'd be grateful if I could see the manuscript. I want to know more about you. The old elf permits himself a faint smile. I am not surprised. A strange, peculiar-looking elf with unusual powers who comes from afar and called himself Collector of Stories. But things usually spark some interest. I'll answer some questions. Who are you and where are you from? Before I would have said that I'm a blacksmith from Keonin, who lost his sight and then found his true calling in a new craft, that of a story collector. But I've lately begun to suspect that those words are no more than a lie. The old elf chuckles. It's quite the irony. I never thought I'd have to complain about my memory. It holds the stories of the entire world, but I've noticed more and more alarming signs recently. I encounter ancient stories and see myself in them. I don't remember those events, but stories cannot lie. So it means that my memory is lying. And I intend to get to the bottom of it. I'm looking for proof that my visions are true, and for the reason why my past has been hidden from me. They look ancient. I thought elves didn't get old. The blind man straightens his bony ear back with dignity. As you can see, we do manage to live for many thousands of years. There may not be a single mortal in this world older than me. The storyteller sighs and continues with a sad smile. Anyway, it's not about time, it's about the stories I keep inside. There is so much suffering and sadness in the world, and in my stories too. I've lived every one of them. I've drunk the bitter experience and accepted it into my heart. Hard. The weight of all this suffering on my shoulders. But I wouldn't trade my burden for any other. Where did you get your strange powers? Storyteller shrugs. I've always got along well with things. I used to be a blacksmith, that I know for sure, but I've always felt the essence of things, their spirit, for as long as I can remember. I've always been able to feel the traces of memories and feelings left on things by their former owners. I don't know where this gift comes from, maybe having taken my sight the gods granted me another sense. Why did you come to the World Wound? Searching for the truth about my real past has brought me here. I saw myself in other stories. In them I was called the elf in the tower. Now I'm looking for this tower, my tower, everywhere. I've been to many places, I've visited islands and deserts, but I haven't found it. There are very few uncharted territories on the map. World Wound is one of them. How do you collect stories? The same way Pathfinder collects his conquests. The way a healer has a personal cemetery of patients he failed to save. The way every person, including you, has a box of secret, most precious experiences deep down in their soul. No one is allowed to touch. The world is not made of things or matter even. It's made of stories. They move from past to future, piercing our world at the point of here and now. They give meaning to everything. They are the meaning, and everything else is only the setting required for the stories to exist. There is nothing more real and alive than a story. And anything real and alive can die and be destroyed, distorted, forgotten. But as long as I carry these stories with me, they will not be lost. This is why I don't often share my stories. By sharing one with you, I give you the right to tell it to others, to distort and embellish it inadvertently or advertently. How can I be sure you will keep its original purity? Stories travel from one person to another, they change, become distorted, turn into tall tales. This is why I keep my stories to myself. No more questions? The encounter. We know what you were doing there. And we know you didn't find it because you want us to look for it. I have to go. Alright. Well, we've got time to meet with Ninio and learn about her. Girl, I am pleased with you. I asked you to bring me to safety, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and frankly pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, plumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Ninio stops to catch your breath. What I mean is, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we will unravel the greatest mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it, I leading the way proudly, staring into the face of gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step. Wait. Writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. You always express your delight so effusively. What? Who are you? Ninio stares at you for a while in bewilderment in her eye, but then is easily replaced by recognition. Oh yes, my new follower. So what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as yet modest achievements, and try to induce you to strive for more such encouragement. That is a principle that underpins any training. She frowns, but only for an instant. Ah, I see. Your modest nature was unsettled by the overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologise for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again, unless I forget. But let's get back to the business at hand. Your new assignment will be to take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley line between Canabris and Dresden, as soon as it's reasonably practicable. I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross. What's so special about these ruins? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, is my secret project, and I won't pass up the opportunity to share it with you, because you are my most loyal follower and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Ninio rubs her nose, and also because you are the first person to ever ask me about it. Some time ago I was walking around the border of the World Wound when I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed grey robe, and his face was hidden beneath an odd white mask. Of course I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about the reasons for his absurd appearance. And do you know what he said to me? He said, "I am the answer, but what is the question?" Then he walked off in the direction of World Wound. The next day after that, I'd already forgotten about the first encounter. I had no similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. I asked the same question, but what is the question? She said before taking off the World Wound, and then I realised. Everything became clear to me. And I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Ninio rubs the tip of her nose. After all these geysers weren't simply on their way to a costume party, were they? After examining several maps, I determined they were heading in one direction, to a place not far from Canabres, a place which is marked as nameless ruins even on ancient Sarkorian maps. That is where I need to go. Unravelling the secret of that place will be my greatest discovery. It will secure my place in history, or perhaps even in legend. How do you know where we have to go? Do you know how to find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations, and remember the directions they fly in. Then take the map and draw lines showing the bees' routes. The place where the lines intersect will mark the location of the high beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees don't make any honey. I use the beehive principle here too. For a couple of months, I tracked the strange people in the masks and observed the direction in which they were travelling. I collected the coordinates, mapped their estimated routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersected at the nameless ruins far from Canabres. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. These ruins aren't very far from Canabres. You could easily get there all by yourself. Why do you need me? Ninio's eyes seem ready to pop out of their eye sockets in surprise. Don't you see? This is a legendary secret place. Who knows what may happen to me after I lift the veil and uncover the workings of the universe? My mortal body may be unable to contain all the knowledge, or perhaps I will ascend and become equal to the gods themselves. I need you to write down everything that happens and report my fate to the interested parties in Absalom. And don't forget to praise me as I deserve while you're there. You know, these ruins of yours may turn out to be just that, ruins. Ninio shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I know which experiment I'll try next. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. That's all I wanted to know about your task. Well now, you know. Off we go. Ninio frowned. Did I just say a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered a poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment quickly. Say any word and I'll try to find a rhyme for it right away. Orange. Actually, there are a few. Lorange is a mountain in Wales, I believe. And there's another one, Sporange, I think. Science. Since that's your best wit. That's when thinkers make alliance. Intellectual defiance. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. Learned that I have no poetic talent at all, Ninio sighs. I don't know, I've heard even worse from people who are published. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry is, in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence, would have been a little too much. I'm catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. Tell me about yourself. I'm an explorer, pilgrim, a yet to be recognized scientific luminary, future author of the Encyclopedia Galactica, and rector of all of that. Yeah, you've told me that. Let's skip through that. Where are you from? That information is relevant. How do you become a scientist? That's irrelevant. You have a circle tattooed on your shoulder. What does it mean? Then you cast a sidelong look at her shoulder. Oh, that. I don't remember the circle method of its creation, but I like it. I prefer to think of it as a 0, null, nothing. A centre point, an origin of coordinates. It reminds me of how much of the unknown world there are there to explore. Don't remember how you got the tattoo. That information is irrelevant. I've decided to forget it. How can you just decide to forget important piece of information? This is just one of many talents. The secret is stop thinking about the thing you want to forget. And the main thing is not to remember anything you don't need. To filter it, to get right to the essence. I'll teach you someday, unless I forget. What is the encyclopedia you're working on? Encyclopedia Galactica will be published in 100 volumes, 1,000 pages each, plus the author's addenda, appendices added by future co-authors, and critical commentaries. Addenda indexation is still in question. Ninio looks slightly embarrassed. I just like the number 100, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to keep within the established word limit. It will be a magisterial piece of scholarship that will become a part of the mandatory curriculum of every educational institute worth mentioning. In it, I intend to describe every object, item, event, fact, and personality that is present on, or at least somehow related to Galariana. Ooh, I'm getting tired reading all this. My calculations show me that I have completed no more than 1% of this monumental book. You remember your own parents, your past, is that relevant too? All of it is irrelevant on the grand scale of world history. I have no reason to remember such things. Forgive me for saying this, but you're out of your mind. Inio stays silent and gives you a puzzled look. What were we talking about? You're out of your bloody mind. I'll stop torturing you with questions for now. Let's get this off the table. And this, because they don't care. So let's get rid of it. And there we are. We will go rest. And next time we will come back and we will head back to the marketplace and see if we can recruit anyone there. Meanwhile, alchemy would seem to be me. I can't make potions, but I can do this. Potion crafting would definitely be Ninio. But we do not have a Scriber's kit, so that's irrelevant right now. In resting, and we will end it there. I've been Private Yorkie, heading back to the front. It's crazy out there. You've been a great audience. The Chihuahua's been sleeping, and this has been Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous, killing time. Bye now.